Hey everybody, welcome to day 3 of the Aroma Freedom Technique 101 or AFT 101, where we are going to take you through each of the steps of the process and help you optimize your experience of Aroma Freedom Technique so that it can be the best thing ever for you. I know for myself that I'm guilty of having the same thoughts over and over and over again in my own head. Some of them were given to me by people in my past, people that I cared a lot about and cared and valued their opinion. Some people I've held on to their words to me and have just kind of embodied them as my own, even if it was out of some silly teenage conflict. And some of them are the criticisms that I tell myself. And so one of the things we know is in the AFT process, when you're asked to think about that negative voice that tells you why you can't achieve a goal or dream, those are bringing to mind those voices in your head. Sometimes they're negative voices from other people, and other times they're just your inner voice. But the thing that we know is having the same old thinking will garner the same old results. In fact, there's an old adage, I think out of the Alcoholics Anonymous teachings, that if you keep doing the same things, you're going to get the same results. And if you think you're going to get different results doing the same things, that's the definition of insanity. So in this AFT process, we're being very cautious, very intentional about overcoming some of the things from our past to hopefully get rid of some of the things that were protecting us in the past so that we can address the things that we're facing in the future. So again, I want to read to you from Dr. Purkis's book. You can pick this up on Amazon or from his website. Remember, that information is available to you. Let me know. The Aroma Freedom Technique, 2nd edition. But one of the things he says is if you have no internal objections come up when you state your goal after listening for a full minute of quiet, then you are probably fully aligned with it. But chances are there will be some internal objection. This is the dirt in the hose. I love how he says that. This voice that we hear inside has been called many things: an inner critic, the negative voice inside, the inner roommate, stinking thinking, or the ants, automatic negative thoughts. In fact, if you remember back to the movie Mean Girls, sometimes we can even think of that inner voice as that inner mean girl inside of us if you're a woman listening to this training session. There are many strategies for coping with and combating negative thoughts, and several schools of therapy, most notably cognitive behavioral therapy, have been developed with exactly that strategy. So it turns out that these thoughts are a form of self-defense, a survival strategy. When a child goes through an experience, she learns from what happened and develops a self-image that prepares her for future encounters with the world. This is like what happened when the rabbit barely escaped being eaten by a fox. The rabbit learned where the fox lived so that it could avoid it the next time. So again, the same thing happens with our negative messages. So if you are thinking that you're not going to be able to accomplish something, that's your inner voice protecting you from the fear of failure. So it's really important that you get a handle on what these thoughts are that are recurring for you and figure out strategies to bring them to mind, to consider how you feel, what those voices are protecting you from, and where they might have originated, so that you can begin to break down that old thinking in your subconscious. One of the things that we know through this practice is that negative messages are there to protect us, and yet they're keeping us stuck. So if we want to manifest a goal that will help us live a more satisfying life or a higher vision of what we want, then we have to clear the dirt from the hose and start to replace them with more empowering messages. So one of the things we teach in AFT is one way to overcome negative thinking is to just simply fight the negative thoughts and try to erase them from your mind. In fact, Louise Hay, in her writings, especially Heal Your Life, she talks about how to replace those negative thoughts, to stop them in their tracks when they come up, and literally say, no more stinking thinking. And you could also just choose to ignore them and think about something else, try to find a happy place. Honestly, this is a place where I'm finding for myself that instead of thinking about something else, I do something else, and that is I comfort with food. So if I'm ignoring my negative thinking, I'm typically reaching for a bite of chocolate or something with a lot of sugar in it that helps my brain override that subconscious niggly feeling that's not positive. So maybe some of the rest of you find that as well for cravings and other things that are holding you back from achieving your goals when it comes to your body image or to your overall fitness. It's also, again, in line with positive affirmations, and I'll say more about this tomorrow in day 4. But you can replace those negative thoughts with positive affirmations and spend time every day thinking about things that are affirming. However, you haven't taken care of the initial thought, the initial negative message that you're telling yourself. You haven't actually deleted that from your psyche. Instead, you are simply replacing. So it really behooves you to go through the Aroma Freedom Technique process and give yourself space and time to talk through how and work through how it felt when you initially believed that statement, and really start to look at ways that you can dissolve them. So, in fact, I'll read this again from Dr. Perkis. He says, "We can go deeper inside and use the AFT process to dissolve the negative thought by releasing the emotional charge that has been holding it in its place." So we have to determine where the negative thought is coming from and start to clear the stuck emotional energy that is giving rise to these thoughts. And that's the cool thing about essential oils is initially I think people thought that essential oils were simply light therapy and weren't as powerful as they are. But again, if I jump ahead in the book to the oils, is it's so that you can understand why this works the way it works. When you smell an essential oil, you are actually bringing in a new opportunity for you to edit the memory, thought, feeling complex. So I'll talk more about that, about why we use essential oils in this practice on a day coming up, day 6. So look ahead for that. But for right now, give yourself some time and space while I have you here. Give yourself some time and space to tap into that negative energy, that negative voice. Where did it come from? Who did it originate with? Is it something that you've just been super critical with yourself about, or did it originate in a family situation or somebody that you cared about or valued their opinion? And bring those to mind, because as we are continuing on optimizing the Aroma Freedom Technique, you want to make sure you have a good sense of who you are and what those thoughts are. I'll also tell you that when it comes to the feelings that you have regarding this, sometimes we've also been taught that certain feelings aren't okay. So maybe you've heard growing up that women shouldn't show anger or frustration, and it's come out in different ways. Maybe you have found that you aren't supposed to cry. I think that's a typical statement that a lot of women and men feel, that they don't want to show tears in public. So again, with your thoughts, with your feelings, start to consider for yourself, and you can take some time to write this down for yourself today. Who is your inner voice? Where did it originate? What are the messages that you're hearing over and over again? These things are probably happening to you each and every day. One of the things I know just from the studies that I've done and taught over the years is that most of the messages that we tell ourselves every day are negative. So why is that? And have you questioned it lately? What about the feelings that you have about those things? Are they overcoming you? Have they pushed you down? Have they limited you in some way? I love when Dr. Perkis talks about becoming a warrior of your feelings and really standing up for the opportunity to almost become an observer to your thoughts and your feelings and your sensations as you're doing the AFT practice. Have you taken time and space in your busy, busy life to really focus on where that came from and whether it serves you still today? I hope that this day for you and these reminders to you will help you clear out that dirt from the hose. It will continue to enlighten you in terms of where those messages were taught, where they were fostered, and how you've held on to them up until now, because you are learning new strategies through Aroma Freedom Technique and this in-depth look at how it works to be more clear about your intuition, about that still small voice of hope that stays inside of you as well. You don't just have the negative voices, but there's another divine voice that calls you forward into becoming the best you that you can be. And that's why we're here today. Have an awesome day, everybody.